Upon reaching grade 11 and 12, the student is now able to understand stories, textbooks, novels. His reading habits would have enabled him to write proper sentences, paragraphs, passages, and even essays that are well organized. His writing would correspond to an increased confidence in speaking. He would now be able to speak grammatically correct as though he was writing. The expansion in his neural circuitry due to his increased ability to read, write, and talk leads to a highly advanced capacity to listen and understand as though he was reading a text. By now, there is very little new skills to be learned in terms of language. The student has got all the tools to explore the universe as an astronaut. I am using the earlier analogy. Of course, he will need to add more words in his vocabulary. He will also need to add more grammatical rules. He will need to find out the subtler changes required to convey desired messages. So we can say that by grade 10, his language capacity is fully evolved in terms of the skill brain quadrant. Now he needs to expand ideas, concepts, patterns, interrelationships, details, angles, exceptions as part of his capacity of language. Now, this is related to the knowledge brain quadrant. This is a never ending process. There will always be a new concept that needs to be learned from scratch. However, the student will be able to use any old framework as a springboard to understand new concepts. So this is related to the wisdom brain quadrant. This ability to bridge one concept with another to understand the new one with better light is a very important capacity, and that is also about language. As he is in grade 11 and 12, the student would have chosen certain stream of specialization and would have to give up other streams. Some would specialize in science, others in management, still others in arts or humanities or law. Whichever stream the student chooses, the above expansion in a language capacity occurs because the student is now exposed to more material. This is input in the form of reading and listening. By now, the student has got the ability to determine whether the book that he is reading is a good one or a bad one. He now has the skills to make such judgments. It is not because he did not understand, but because now he knows that the author did not know how to explain so as to be well understood. This critical reading skill is a big shift by the time the student reaches this level of college. Basically, we can say that his language skills enables him to differentiate between gold and junk. His newfound reading skills extends to his listening skills also. Whereas till grade 10 he was a passive listener, now he is a active listener. As we discussed earlier, this means that mental processes go through the mind as we are listening. The more expert the person is in language, the more processes can be carried out at the same time of listening and reading. By now, the student's wiring would have become very advanced, and he will be able to disagree and voice his opinion in conversations. He will realize that in order to have a stronger foothold in an argument, he needs to have more input. In order to do that, he needs to read more and to listen to more people. He also realizes that by writing, he is able to debate and argue more effectively. As the student reaches college, he's exposed to the world. There is less protection. He realizes that his ability to talk and write emails, SMS messages can help him survive and strive. Consequently, his information brain quadrant dramatically expands in terms of the four language components because his very survival is dependent on them. So grade 11 and 12 is like icing on the cake. We can also compare it to polishing the newly melted or molded structure. By now, we can only refine the language skills. To do that, the student begins to read literature, current news. He starts to become interested in non-fiction books because they expound on a concept that he thought was limited to just a paragraph earlier, but now can't even be covered in a 100-page book. He soon realizes that the more he reads and the more people of high value he listens to, the more power he has over other people. This is a strong motivator for him to expand his language skills. In this way, he begins to add more historical figures in his memory, more terminologies, more analogies. He also realizes that unlike food, reading and listening can be done infinitely. He just absorbs new material like a sponge. The more ideas he has, the easier it is for him to understand new ideas using the wisdom brain quadrant. Then, because he now has the understanding of how any topic is explained, researched, and presented, for him understanding any new topic become very easy. This is the knowledge brain quadrant at work. All the while, he is learning and adding new words in his vocabulary by looking up at the dictionary. He becomes adventurous because of his maturity. Then he tries to use the new words that he learned when he talks to friends, parents, teachers. Slowly, talking as an educated person becomes exciting. He realizes that he can attract people with his language skills. He learns to say the same thing in various ways. Consequently, he also realizes that he can write using different styles and voices as he writes. Everything happens very fast in those 2 years. They correspond with the development of his brain in that period of being 16 to 18. These 2 years will be the last ones where he will have the chance to learn English or any language as a special subject. That is, unless he goes into literature or languages in his bachelor program. The syllabus makers were not wrong. Everything that needs to be or can be learned in terms of language would have had occurred by this time. So now the astronaut has got the rockets and also the fuel to go as far into space as he desires. There is no end to how far he can go with whatever language capacity he has. It is with this mastery of language that the student enters into undergrad and grad school. or university. By then, no syllabus makes a provision for the student to enhance his language capacity directly. The syllabus makers are unkind in many ways. First, they assume that the student would have acquired all the skills of language as they have prescribed up till class 12. Second, they cannot understand how anybody could have missed several rungs in the ladder of the capacity building of language. Third, they don't care about those laggards and backbenchers who failed to acquire the language skills. Fourth, they will never acknowledge that this is possible, that anybody who has reached a bachelor's degree would not have the perfect language skills. If they acknowledged, then that will ruin their reputation as syllabus makers. How could such smart people make such non-inclusive and imperfect syllabus that so many students cannot follow, thereby reaching college or university with poor language skills? So in university, the student is on his own with whatever language capacity he has. He learns advanced physics, advanced economics, advanced mathematics, tourism, history, geography, medicine. By now, the earlier students who were able to climb every rung of the ladder made by standard syllabus makers would be able to realize that upon reaching bachelor's degree or master's degree, the language is not the problem at all, but the concepts are the challenges. That is the most important capacity of language that a student should have gained by now. He should be able to understand the words, the grammar, the passage, and he must be able to observe himself as being unable to understand what the teacher is trying to explain in the class of physics or mathematics or economics or politics. He must know that it is okay. Then, like he used the dictionary to understand new words earlier, now he will try to use other reference materials to understand new concepts. Using his four brains, he will eventually grasp the new concepts of his chosen field. All the while, he will be using the same approach he used to learn languages in order to learn new subjects. I have called that approach the four brain learning approach, but some people will just say it is about being smart and intelligent, and it's okay. All I'm saying is that the way he started with the daily use of language by learning basic terms like water, hungry, thirsty, he should start learning the new subject by finding out its application in daily life. In this way, the student will find interest and will not be intimidated by the new subject, like he was put at ease with language by knowing its daily uses. Then, just like he learned the ABC of language, he now knows that he has to learn the terminologies required to converse in the new subject. In the mathematics, the letters are equivalent to numbers, and the conjunctions, prepositions would be equivalent to notations like plus, minus. Just the way he learned to join words to make sentences, paragraphs, passages, and make stories, some good, some bad, with different messages. He learns to understand the various skills, data involved in the new subject, just as he did with languages. This is, of course, the skill brain quadrant at work, whereas in the earlier paragraph it was the information brain quadrant at work. Then after he learned the basic grammar, the vocabulary, and the use of language, the student expanded his knowledge through readings of literature and stories. Similarly, when faced with a new subject, the student will begin to find patterns, interrelations in order to master his new subject. This is related to the knowledge brain quadrant that he had developed as he was learning languages. Cross learning was so much fun in the languages when he was exposed to metaphors and similes and analogies. The student will use the same approach of the wisdom brain quadrant in order to have fun with his subject and enable it to make a deeper mark in his brain. So when the student reaches undergrad and graduate level, what he can do is only to regurgitate whatever language capacity he had and to replicate it in order to learn the new subject. We can say that the better he was in the languages, the better he will be in the chosen subject of his. Corollarily, the worse he was in language, the more difficult he will have to face when learning a new subject. Once the student completes his bachelor's degree or and master's degree, he will be able to use language like a perfect singer uses his voice or a perfect dancer uses his body. They can produce any music or any choreography. Similarly, the student is able to write, read, listen, and talk perfectly in his chosen field. All this is due to his learning of the languages. This is why language is so important, because it shapes everything that comes afterwards. Without trying to oversell myself, which is not my intention, I just want to reiterate that any person who has mastered his language skills has done so using the four brain learning approach or anything similar, even though it is called something else. This enables him to face the real world and succeed in it.